Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuned in from. I hope everything's working with the audio, the video. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up at the beginning of this stream if you are hearing and seeing everything perfectly. My name's Kellam. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily live streams here every day, Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube. I'm so happy to have you all here. The dog, as you see, running around in the background, stretching, ready for some crypto, ready for some tools. Really appreciate everybody tuning in, supporting. This is all about how we can build as a community, how we can share our experiences over time, and making sure that we can grow as a community and grow in profits and be consistently profitable over time. And how do we do that? Well, we do that through utilizing a number of tools, utilizing our patience, utilizing experiences and strategies that we can learn from others so that we can prevent having a lot of those mistakes that traders and investors make early on, so that we can build that strong foundation, especially as this very early sort of stages of where we're at with the blockchain, Bitcoin, and crypto environment. This is the best opportunity of many lifetimes, and I'm so happy to have you here with us. Please, as you're tuning in, whether this is your first time, whether you're watching this live or in the future, just I want you to please know that we very much try to tie as many streams as possible to what's going on in the current environment, because that gives us very up-to-date information. However, whether you're watching this live or any recording, whether it's 1 day, 1 month, or 1 year in the future, all the details and all the information that I'm sharing here on this channel with you as we build this community is all the tools and experience and strategies that you could utilize regardless of where we're at in any market cycle, and how we can make sure we can capitalize on making good, smart investment and trade decisions. So go ahead, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Really helps grow this channel and gives us, it's a free and easy way to support all the time and effort that we put in here to bring this information to you, because it's not just me here on screen with you, but we have an entire team behind us at the HIT Network, BitBoy Crypto crew, as well as our community here, all the mods in chat. Thank you so much for everybody that is basically being involved in this community and helping it grow. With that being said, before we go any further, I do want to just say one of my missions here is to set us apart from all these other channels that are out there, which are all great, is I'm trying to make sure that we can bridge that gap from beginner to pro, no matter where you are in your journey in crypto, no matter where you are in your journey in trading, whether it's maybe you've been in crypto for a long time and have been invested, but you've never really tried trading, or maybe you've been a trader and never tried the long-term approach. Wherever you're at, maybe this is your first day even trying to look at anything in regards to this ecosystem. My goal is to build this community with the value of empowerment, with the values of positivity, and with the value of honest tools that aren't about us as a channel growing our pockets. It's about growing your pockets. So again, my name's Kellam. Please give me a follow on Twitter, which you can see right there, which is @Kellam. And also make sure you're following all these socials right here across the bottom of the screen, across all our various social networking sites, because we want to make sure, there's so many different imposters out there, make sure you're following the right one. So without any further ado, I do want to just say again, welcome to everybody that's tuned in. Go ahead, type in where you're from. It's always good to see at the beginning of chats where everybody's from around the world, because it's not just people here. I'm in New York, sometimes I'm in Atlanta, sometimes I'm traveling, and there's people from all over the world that are tuned in here in chat. And also, if you're watching this at a later date, drop a comment below, because we are trying to pay attention as much as possible to what people are saying, because this isn't just about me talking at you. It's about really engaging with you and trying to figure out what it is you're looking for, what it is you're trying to gain, what your sticking points are. So drop a hashtag sticking point if you have a certain thing you've been trying to fight through. I may not get to it in this particular video. We try to keep them fairly focused, but we do pay attention to these. We do check back. Comment below if you are watching at a later time. We try to sort of focus our content around what our community is looking to gain. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into the charts. So first off, I do want to say, shout out to BitBoy crew who are basically helped launch this. We're a part of that whole brand. Also, HIT Network, which we're adding to this. I don't know why it's not on here, but that that website is, that YouTube, I should say, is somewhere here, is this one right here. So go ahead and give them a follow at Hit Network Official. We also have 24/7 live streaming on there with all of our partner brands from BitBoy, around the blockchain, Scott Melker, Wendy O, Crypto. Debate Crypto, Frankie Candles, so many different stuff. And we sort of take all the content that all these different providers, all these different people so graciously put out every day, and we sort of tie it together. So it's a continuous stream all day long. Every day is up as much uptime as we could possibly get. We try to go for. But before we go any further, I do want to make sure call out our Twitter profile. Make sure to follow that at Academy BitLab. We also have, of course, our Instagram, which is also at Academy BitLab, and then my own Twitter profile, which is at Kelly Kellam, which you can see right here. I put out content all day long, every day. I practically live on Twitter. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll try to get back to as many comments as possible, or posts, direct messages as possible. Sometimes they do get put in the other folder for people that I'm not following, but I do try to get back, because this is all about community. This is all about me connecting with you and you connecting with me and us connecting as a community. So try to, when I post stuff, whether it's here on my own Twitter profile or the BitLab Academy profile, engage, ask questions, put your own thoughts. And then, of course, another incredible community feature we have with BitLab is our Discord, which you can find. I have in the description down below. I finally put in there, which you can find the link for the free. Basically, join the BitLab Discord. There's a lot of community engagement there. Of course, if you become a member of BitLab Academy, which is bitlabacademy.com. Oh, I can't type. There we are, bitlabacademy.com. If you come here, go ahead and sign up for our newsletter. We're going to be picking 5 winners from people that have signed up for free lifetime access to BitLab Academy. We're going to be picking those next week. So go ahead and sign up here. We also send out weekly newsletters with great information, updates to what's going on within BitLab Academy, as well as some alpha, some charts, some TA, some how-tos. And then, of course, we also have our indicator package, which you can find here at Indicators for the BitLab Trading Suite, which I will be doing a bunch more content on this very soon. Some really, really advanced, incredible indicators that ties some of the best alpha together into a single trading indicator pack here. Now, before we go any further, I do want to again shout out everybody here on stream that's tuned in. We're at the very tail end of an incredibly entrenched bear market, which, I've gone over a lot of information on these streams in the last week. I even did a live stream on Saturday, and I've gone through charting using an entire video on using TradingView, some hacks, some ways you can set up your, what do you call it? Not fundamentals, your templates. Making sure you can have different trading templates, different indicator setups, different, having having basically custom setup for very ease of use, and even some quick keys. So I'll put the link for that at the very end of this video. A video will pop up with 2 different options. One of them will be the trading view, and another one will be a bunch of tips and tricks on how to really catch pumps and make sure that you can be profitable over time. Today, in today's video, we are going to be going over, what are we going to be going over? Tools and tips and tricks that every trader needs, because it's not just about using TA, which is technical analysis on your chart, so you can identify where the best entry and exit points are and understand what's happening within the context of price action on the chart. We're also going to be going over a wealth of information that are mostly free tools. I'm giving you alpha on free tools that everybody has access to. You have access to, pro traders have access to, and what the difference is in the edge of traders is, and edge is, the accumulation and analysis of data that can give you foreshadowing and understanding of the market, so that you can make moves before they happen, or so that you can catch as much of a move before it happens. So you can read into the chart and the price action, but also the fundamental developments and changes that could affect the outcomes of what's happening in price action on the charts, so that you can be in control and consistently profitable over time, so that you can catch moves before they happen and get out of drops before they happen. Or you can utilize those drops by shorting them all the way down. How do we do that? Well, we're going to be teaching you that. Again, I just want to say, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ting that bell so you can get access and the notifications every time we go live here. Again, we're going live every Monday through Friday here at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for about an hour leading up to BitBoy Crypto Show, where you get all the news of the day. Of course, a ton of personality from Ben himself and DZ and Frankie Candles. And again, also, please go ahead and follow all of our partner brands, BitBoy Crypto, Hit Network, Frankie Candles, Scott Melker, Wendy O, and really just dive in and get a broad stroke, broad sort of view of what's happening in the market, because it does not serve you to follow data that's in an echo chamber. It does not serve you to follow data from everybody saying the same things. It does not serve you to only follow technical analysis. The goal and the key to being a successful trader over time is to expose yourself to as much data and variety of data as possible, and then form your own thesis that then you can apply to an action plan that you act out on the charts, rather than being held hostage from your emotions of what's going on in the charts. So why don't we just dive right on into this? And here we are, another day. It is Monday, January 16th, Martin Luther King Day. Shout out to everybody all around the world who practice peace, who practice wanting to move our culture forward, who want to adapt and overcome some of the things that we've held on to from the past and grow as a society. I think that's what I feel like this day is about. Whatever your beliefs are politically, whatever your beliefs are, socio-culturally, our goal should always be to grow. And that's what this channel is about. Obviously, it's more focused on crypto, assets, trading, investing, but all these things tie into how we are plugged into the world. So let's just sort of take a moment there and just think about that and I did a tweet earlier today. I'm going to bring this up, and this encapsulates me really with how I feel. And it's this tweet right here. No, it's not this tweet right here. We are going live at 10:30 a.m. every day, but it is this tweet right here. I shared this tweet, which is, cowards with power will always conspire to break the spirit of those that refuse to join them. And I think this is entirely relevant to everything that's going on, especially when we think about what's happening with crypto and blockchain. It's undermining the power of traditional finance. It's undermining the socio-political sort of grip on sort of manipulating through fiat currencies, through fiat that's backed by guns and war, not gold, right? We've gone off the gold standard, I think, since 1971. What's happened since then? Astronomical inflation. It's only gone further up and to the right. That's not what we want. We want up and to the right with our assets, right? We want up and to the right with the love in our life. We want up and to the right with our well-being and our health. And so, one of the ways that we can fight that is really by fighting the system from within. And it's not just with blockchain, it's not just with crypto, but it's also within ourselves and how we engage with society around us, how we engage. And this is what I mean by that. I said, one of the things I try to do every day is I ask myself, am I contributing to people's empowerment or destruction? And what I mean by this is my goal is to always take an extra moment when engaging with situations and respond. We fail and are a negative presence when we react instead of responding. So this sounds like it's going off topic from what we're talking about with crypto and blockchain, and it doesn't. Because if we can't respond to situations in our everyday life, how do we respond and engage with charts? If we're reacting in everyday life to a difficult situation walking down the street or somebody cutting us off in traffic, that means that we're allowing ourselves through our everyday life to be held hostage by emotional reactions, right? Emotional reactions serve no growth. If we master our ability or get as close to mastering our ability to respond to every situation, that will also lend itself to how we engage with the markets, how we engage with charts. We need to come up with the action plan and a patience mechanism within ourselves and know ourselves deeply enough so that we have an action plan or patience enough to respond to every situation. So let's go ahead and dive into some of these tools and tips and tricks. Everybody, again, thank you for being here. Welcome to the BitLab Daily Stream. My name's Kellam. Excuse me. I didn't eat breakfast, so my body is just hungry right now. I'm vibing. I hope you're all vibing. I hope you're well wherever you're at. More than anything, I hope you're well. And if you're not, reach out to a friend, reach out to a colleague, reach out to any of these community members. We're supposed to be building a family here. We're supposed to be building a support structure. So let's do it. So this is some nice fluff, right? But how do we utilize this within our charts, within our investing strategy, within our trading? Well, the goal here is to utilize as many tools as possible. So first step first, I'm going to start with the basic and get down to some real alpha. Some of these things you might be aware of, some of these tools you might use every day. But what my goal is to help show you how to utilize some of these things on a more expert with an expert lens, or with different tools or different approach that maybe you have before. And if you know all these things and some of these tools, fine. Stay here, stay with us, because I'm going to share some things that maybe you haven't seen, or maybe some extra processes and that you can engage with these tools, so you can combine them to really build an effective strategy of engaging with the market. So I'm going to go through all of them very quick, and not all of them, but most of them, in case I don't get to some of them at the end. So you can just take note of them, list them down on a notepad somewhere, take screenshots, whatever, and just dive into these on your own time as well, and really explore them, really explore how you can think, how can I utilize this to my advantage? How can I add this to my tool belt so that I can have a sharp sword, I can speak as well, a sharp sword when I enter into the battlefield that is investing. Because make no mistake, investing and trading, investing is a battlefield. Trading is a war zone, because you are fighting with every other trader to have that edge, to take advantage of what's happening in the markets so that you can get the most out of every trade and every investment decision. So here's some of the tools we're going to be going over today. And we're going to go over each one of them and what the specific use case and specific utility within each one of these is. Of course, everybody knows coinmarketcap.com, and another alternative to this is coingecko.com. And I'll go over how and what we can use it for, because it's not just this data of what's going on with the rank of coin market caps. There's so much more you can do with this. Of course, also, one of my favorites, when I used to write out the show and the structure of the show for when I was on the Crypto Jeb channel, and even when I helped build the show, sometimes with the BitBoy Crypto show, when we're trying to figure out what news we're going to highlight, there's always thousands of news stories every day. How do you pick which ones are going to most affect the market? And this is what we really want to engage with. Come here to newsnow.com, and then you can come up to this top toolbar. And I use this for every bit of my news now, because it's so effective. You can pick it on politics, world, sports, business, but I come over here to crypto, and I actually have this shared. I have this bookmarked, and you can come down, you scroll down, and you can see you can get just general crypto. I have this on Bitcoin right now, but let's just click on crypto. And it pulls some of the top stories from every different news provider that's out there, from CoinGabe, Crypto Potato, Cointelegraph, Yahoo News, You Today, Forex Live. I mean, it pulls from everywhere. And you can then aggregate it down and filter it to the latest news, what's stuff that's coming out, right now on a just continuous timeline. It just continually updates all the different major news stories that are coming out. And then you can also go to most read. And then you can sort of filter through this. And then, of course, you can come over here on the left toolbar, and you can go just Bitcoin. And it's just the Bitcoin news stories that are come out, the most important stuff that's happening in the market. And this is an incredible tool to understand what the general sort of mainstream media and crypto news media sort of market sentiment is about what's going on. I'm just going to turn that light just a little bit. And it just gives you a good context, a good snapshot of generally what's happening in the market, but also when major news breaks. So a lot of times throughout the day, I have this open on a tab. I have two monitors. On one of my monitors over here, I just have one tab open with the News Now open on latest news, and it basically just keeps updating all day long, so I can be hyper aware of what's happening in the market, especially when I'm trading, especially when I'm intraday trading, when I'm doing scalp trades or swing trades, which are much smaller time frame trades, catching small movements from here to there, using patterns or other different strategies utilizing technical analysis. Now, the next thing we can use is this. I like this calendar here. This is like an economic news calendar, and this is incredibly important. Have you ever, which I'm sure you have, been sitting there on the charts and I think all of us have felt this way at one point or another, or many times, or maybe so much. That's why you're here on these crypto YouTube channels and trading channels trying to figure out what the heck's going on. What are you doing wrong? And that's, you put in a trade because the market looks like it's finally going to start breaking out. And the second you put in the trade, it feels like the market reverses. You're like, what the heck happened? I thought I did my TA correctly. And my technical analysis, here's my patterns. It was, Kelly said it was supposed to break down or it was supposed to break out when it did, and the market went the opposite way. Well, there's broader context you need to be aware of in the market that is critical to continuous, consistent success over a long period of time in building profits and building successful trade entries and trade exits and investment, all your investment decisions. And that's having an economic context of what's happening in the market. And that is utilizing stuff like this economic calendar that I utilize here on forexfactory.com/calendar. And what is this? Well, you can see, and you can filter it out too. You can change it, but I have this just set as is, and it has all the, major countries and what's happening with different data that's being reported. So for instance, this week, for instance, if I scroll forward, if I'm looking for major stuff that could impact the market, that could impact my trade decisions, say on, let's just scroll down here. Let's go, I think on Wednesday or Thursday. So I'm looking, see, right, USDC, we have the FOMC, which is a Federal Open Market Committee, which they're the ones that are sort of determining, along with the Fed, they gather this data, and they're basically providing the data for the Fed to determine whether or not they're going to continue with these interest rate hikes that we've had, which have been 0.75, 0.75, 0.5. Now the argument is whether or not we're going to be having 0.25, which is known as 25 basis points. Each point that when people talk about these point systems, every point is a percentage. So, every point is a tenth of a percent, I believe. Something like that. But you get my point. We're having 25 basis points, which is 1/4%. So that's what this argument is about. And it's all relevant to this inflation data. It's all relevant to CPI, which is the core price index. We have all this data that's coming out on a regular basis, and some you will see over time is way more relevant or heavy on the market than other, have a heavily weighted towards affecting what's happening with market decisions. Okay. So what we're looking for here, especially with all this data, especially this heavy inflation data that we've been having from 2022 into 2023, and how the Fed is going to interact with that will definitely have major impact on the market. So we're looking for USD, which is, the US. We're looking for, Canada has a little bit of an impact, but the GBP is the Great Britain, the UK, and then Japan is another big one. But what we're really looking for right now, the big daddy of it all, which is driving world markets. The strength of the dollar is so strong right now, and the inflation is so high. The way that our U.S. government and the Fed is interacting and making decisions based on what they're going to do in regards to inflation is having a sort of waterfall effect, a cascading effect throughout the world about what's happening with world economies and how they are engaging with their interest rates and how they're engaging with tackling inflation. So right here we have the FOMC speaks. That's a little bit important, not quite. But then we look here on Thursday, and we have unemployment claims, which is a major factor in the Fed's decisions on how they're going to tackle what's going on with inflation, what they're going to do with interest rates, and we can see. There's just so much benefit to just being aware of this calendar and at least checking in on it, especially if you're trading. At least checking in on it once a month or so, or sorry, once a week or so, maybe every Sunday. It's always good to check in, with markets before the week opens on a Monday. Now, the funny thing about that is Sunday nights at 7 p.m., it changes depending on where you're at, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're going to have to figure that out, what that is for the time frame you're in, time zone you're in. But futures markets open Sunday night to sort of start planning and trading these institutional traders and futures markets traders, CME, all these things. They start to place their trades based on where they think the market's going to go the following, that following week. The market opened Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. So having a good gauge of what's happening the week ahead of time, or the day before the week leading into it, is, like I said, we are going into battle when we're trading. So you don't just show up at a battleground and then say, okay, well, what's our plan? No, you're planning ahead. You're taking the time, you're doing the diligence to try to forecast based on all the data available. And we're going to be going through that data here, or the data points, the places that you can aggregate this data. You look into what's the likelihood, what's the probabilities, and this game is entirely about probabilities. What's the probabilities that this data point, based on the previous price action historically, how is this likely going to play out going throughout this week? And that's a plan you should always have. Now, what's the next thing we're going to look at? The next thing we're going to look at is, this is a great free tool, coinglass.com. And I'm going to go over this in detail in a second. Again, I just want to go through a bunch of these so you have them in case we don't get through all the time here in this short hour that we have. And if we don't get through it, I will make a point to go over them in future videos. The next, here you're going to get open interest, ETF data, funding rates, liquidation, longs versus shorts. And I'll go over all of this in detail. And this is coinglass.com. Free site, free tool. Another one, look into Bitcoin. I've mentioned this one several times because it is a great free tool that you can utilize, especially if you're not looking, if you're early on in your journey and you're not looking to spend a good amount of money on Glassnode or CryptoQuant or Santiment or any of those things, which are all phenomenal tools, but they are quite a bit more complex, and there's free tools that you can master before you start paying for, monthly subscriptions to these master sort of pro tools. Another one you can look at is this. It's Chain Exposed. There's quite a bit of stuff here, and I'll go over again, I'm going to be going over all this. Another free one is come over here to Twitter and follow Glassnode alerts. This is a great free tool that it's Glassnode, that paid service I was telling you about that does on-chain, but they put out quite a bit of stuff, and I'll go over those in a second. And then, of course, this is a great free tool, colintalkscrypto.com/CBBBI. If you can't find this by title, just search Colin Talks Crypto CBBI. And you will be able to find this. It's basically the Bitcoin Bull Run Index. It aggregates a bunch of on-chain data, so you get a very simple read. And I'm going to go over this in a second. And then Masari.io. This is a paid service, but they have a lot of free tools. This for me is kind of like a better version of CoinMarketCap with a lot more detailed information. That's Masari.io. And again, I'm going to be going over all these. Stay with me, baby. DeFiLlama.com, which is great for DeFi fundamental analysis. And then thePatternSite.com. This is great for TA. We're gonna go over this. Investopedia is a phenomenal tool. We're actually building a lot of tools also within BitLab Academy that's going to have a lot of similar functionality, but very focused on crypto, with a crypto wiki that's going to be there that you can utilize. And I'll recommend once that's available, once that's open, it's going to be free for people. You'll just have to have a free membership, a free account to utilize it on bitlabacademy.com. I recommend having that open anytime you're traveling around, watching any other crypto YouTube, whatever you're doing. If there's words you don't know, if there's words or phrases or concepts that you're not familiar with, or you just want a refresher on, you can really just make sure that you're able to understand what's being talked about, so you're not losing data and alpha that's going over your head because there's words and language that just makes it feel foreign. And then, of course, TradingView is a phenomenal tool. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go through each one of these one by one. And again, I just want to shout out everybody that is out there tuned in, especially where we're at in this market. You all are going to be the type of people that make it. And I'm so excited for you because it's very difficult to stay so interested and so driven towards building your data set, building your knowledge, building your experience in this early part of the, I'll call it the early part of the bull market. It's really the very tail end of the bear market, because this is where lives are changed. Especially if any of you out there bought in at the top and you're still believing, you absolutely are going to make it, because you endured a brutal bear market. And to be here growing, learning after, just being brutalized by this never-ending downtrend, it really speaks volume to your character, and that's what this is about. So I want everybody to throw a lifeline out to everybody. I think I asked last time, but I wasn't able to catch it. Put in your born on date. Put on your born on date in chat. Meaning, when was the first time? When was the time you first heard about crypto? And then put in that same line, when was the first time that you actually made your first purchase? Because we really want to tailor all the information that we share here on this BitLab YouTube to everybody, from the beginner to pro, and this is accessible to everybody no matter where you're at in your journey. I'm really going to be trying to explain things for beginners, but also sharing tools of the pro throughout the way. So even if you're further along your journey, it's okay. I'm going to be showing you how to use tools differently, giving you some different ideas and strategies, and also helping, you're going to be a great asset if you are a pro, if you do have experience, to contribute here in chat. So here we are. Let's continue on. CoinMarketCap.com, phenomenal, because this gives us an incredible amount of data set. And I want to encourage you, if you can, to create an account and log in with this, because there's some stuff you can do if you have an account with CoinMarketCap that's quite phenomenal. You can do it on CoinGecko as well, and you can also do it in a few other tools, but I'm using this as an example because it's a good start. It's a good starting point for a lot of people. And that is, you get all this data. You get a list right here. If you just come over here, once you come to this website, there's all this data across the top. And I want you to make note of this. What you do when you use any tool in crypto, investing, trading, is be humble first. If you can't approach the basics with humility, and go to each lesson, go to each tool like you're trying to learn, versus saying, I already know that, I already use it. Put that away. Learn, be patient, and take in all the data that's available to you. In this case, we have, look at this, there's over 22,000 cryptos listed on CoinMarketCap. What does that mean? That means there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a immense amount of projects that can steal your attention that don't really have value. And that's what this channel is about, is to show you how you can find those assets, those gems, those diamonds in the rough, while also how to trade those ones that are these top assets that are a lot more proven. Excuse me. And so how do we dissect that information? Well, we're going to go over all that. So right now, the market cap for all of crypto is just shy of $1 trillion, $971 billion. This is a nice sort of metric. You've got how much volume. This is incredible because you'll start seeing over time. I think if I click on this as well, it shows, it'll show a chart. You can tell when there's a lot of volume, it also corresponded with market peaks. That's because this goes back to what I talked about in previous lessons. When the hype cycle comes in, when all the news media and everybody, oh my God, market's so high. Well, then we start getting all these retail investors that were holding on because they didn't think it was going to come back. And then they buy again up at these tops, and then they get eaten alive and they sell out and they capitulate because they're short-term holders and they're scared and they don't understand the market. But this volume is everything because volume gives you a good idea of how much interest is in the market. And so when you're at the start of a bull run and a lot of volume starts coming back in, then that gives you another indication that there's almost like proof to the move. So, and this also is in context with a lot of other data points that we're going to take in, but this is just the basic information that we can get right here. I'm going to come back to the main page, but just be aware of all this. The dominance of Bitcoin, you get the dominance of ETH, you get, how much gas, which is the GUE, GUE is known as gas, meaning fees that are paid in Ethereum. And this is important because when gas is very high, it means the network is very congested. It means there's something going on in the network. Now, if there's a lot of movement in price, then there's going to be a lot of congestion on the network. But maybe there's not movement in price, but this goes up. Well, then you have to ask yourself, you can look into it. Maybe there's, something going on with burning. Maybe there's something going on with massive NFT project. Maybe there's a new DeFi project. All these signals start to add up and give you sort of information that if you don't understand why it's there, maybe, like as I said, volume's not there, maybe something else is going on in the network. And it's very important in terms with ETH having huge fees or fees dropped, because ETH has, look at this, almost 20% market dominance over all other crypto that are out there. So just between, I want you to take note of this, just between Bitcoin and ETH itself, that's a 60% dominance of all 22,000, meaning 60% of all the value of the total market cap of the value of every crypto that's out there is held between Bitcoin and ETH. That's why people consider Bitcoin and ETH blue chip, meaning safe assets, anchor assets within the space, because this the largest player. They're the two largest players within the crypto ecosystem. Now, what you can see here is this ranking, and this ranking has to do with the market cap. Now, what is this? The market cap, and you might already know this, but if you don't, it's good to learn this, and it's good to remind yourself, if you do know this, that you need to stop being blinded by the price of the asset and think, I've had a number of people say, well, why would I buy Bitcoin at $20,000 when I can buy, Tron at $0.06, 6 cents? This, I would want to buy this because if this goes to $20 or $20,000, then I'm going to be rich. Well, first step in being successful is knowing the ecosystem you're in. And I'm telling you right now, that's not something that is likely possible. Similar with Doge and Shiba Inu, a lot of people fell into that trap. Doge was at 0.00001 cents. If that only goes to, $10, well, you have to understand the market dynamics. So this is the most basic and most useful tool of your foundation in crypto, is understanding these sort of core principles, which is market cap, and this is called tokenomics of the assets. And I'm going to have a whole video on tokenomics, but just for basics, you want to understand the market cap. This is how big that asset class is. And this is the total number of circulating supply multiplied by the current price, and then you get your market cap. So there's 19,263,993 Bitcoin multiplied times 20,965. That's your market cap. Similarly, when you come down here, let's go back to Tron. And I'm not saying Tron's a bad project. I'm just using this as an example. There's, look at this, 91 billion Tron multiplied times 6 cents, and you get $5 billion. So this is how you're getting the market cap. And you need to understand this. You need to remind yourself anytime you are looking to get into an asset, even if you've heard about it a ton, go at minimum, go and look. You can click on each one of these assets. Let's go to XRP. We can come here and we can see the market cap, fully diluted market cap, which means once all of the established or planned emissions and printing of new, there is a small inflation to most cryptocurrencies that is fixed over time. In Bitcoin's case, it halves every year to the point when there's no more inflation on it. But you can see, what would it be if this price was multiplied by the max supply, essentially. And so you could just look at all these different data sets. And then the other factor you can utilize here, you can get critical or core fundamental sort of knowledge about each asset with all this information that's plugged in here. This is what frustrates so many different crypto YouTubers, is when people say, what market's this on? You have all this information available to you, and it's the most basic stuff. Master these basics. If you can't find something, type it in here. You can type in anything. Okay, pancake swap. If you don't know what it is, it says right there, cake. Okay, where can I find this? Okay, well, you come here, you look at all the information, as I said, look at all the data available to you, and then you come right here to markets. And you can see every exchange as well as every pair that's available, so you know where you can buy this. You know the different places you have access to get this token. You look at something like Atom. Okay, Atom's a great project. Here's all the data. Here's a website, community, white paper. Okay, where can I buy this? Here's all the different places I can buy it. Now, another thing you can look at is historical data. Boom, historical data. And it gives you the idea of what's going on with the price over time if you want to look at it on a text sort of basis. Now, this is a great tool. Now, the other tool I wanted to share that most people don't utilize is come right here. I'm going to come back to the home page. Come here to the home page, and we can come right here to the top right. You can come to community, explore all these things if you haven't yet. Come over here. You can create a watch list. And this is my watch list. And what that does is, if I turn it off, then what you do, and this goes back to what I was telling you about on TradingView, creating favorites. You come here, you see these stars on the left. All these stars put stuff in a watch list, and then you can just look, rather than looking at everything and you have stuff all over the place trying to find it, you can create your watch list of 5, 10, 20, 100 coins, whatever, and then it ranks them. You see 1, 2, 8, 10, cutting out all the noise of stuff I don't want to see, and now I can see just the stuff I want to see right here. Now, the next thing you can do is you can come here. There's customizable stuff. There's all kind of different stuff you can do. Then you can come to portfolio there or here, and you can create. And this is a demo portfolio I created for some videos. You can create a portfolio and add assets to it, and you enter at what price point you purchase them, at what price points you sold or bought it, and it tracks your portfolio over time. So you can look at this and you can see over time, like, what's going on with your portfolio. You can see your average, 24-hour gain or loss. You can see your profit or loss of stuff over time. This is incredibly useful. And we've got an incredible new partner with BitBoy Hit Network and here at BitLab that we're going to be announcing soon, that has a really amazing portfolio system that we're going to be sharing here really soon. But this is a great free tool you can utilize. CoinMarketCap, amazing. Right there. Now, we've done CoinMarketCap, we've done news. We've already broken down this. I don't really need to go more into that because this is fairly basic. Calendar, we've talked about this, utilizing the calendar to understand what's coming up, what's going on with major data that's coming in. So you can plan for it on your trade. So if you are somewhere like right here, as we are on this chart, at this critical, huge long-term downtrend. Look at this. This downtrend went all the way from November 9th, 2021. That's a major downtrend. So not only are we fighting this, and everybody's very excited, but we're also fighting potentially economic news that come out and could completely reverse this, because that would be in confluence with a major downtrend. So we have to understand these things when we're thinking about this stuff. And tool is incredibly useful. Now, another thing, I just want to take a moment really quick and just, I'm just going to pause, take a deep breath. Man, there's so much I want to share in such a short amount of time. We only have 15 minutes left. I just want to shout out everybody here, everybody in chat. Thank you. If you haven't yet, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, ting that bell, hit the like button. Really helps out the channel. And again, thank you for being here. Follow all these socials down here if you haven't. Follow me if you haven't. My name's Kellam if you've just tuned in. And again, if you're watching this live or at any point in the future, this content is meant to be evergreen, so you can come back and refer to this anytime. Check out these tools. I'm going to be adding more tools in the future, but let's go ahead and keep on moving here. Now, next thing I want to go over, I already shouted this out, was CoinGlass. This is phenomenal because you can understand what's going on with where the market is. If there's a ton of people leveraged long, leveraged short, which is what this funding rate is, because for people to take leveraged positions or options positions, they do it on essentially they are borrowing the money to do it from the exchange that they're doing those leveraged positions on, which is why there's a certain amount of the higher the leverage, the tighter the liquidation zone is. So if you're doing, say an asset is $100 and you're doing a 10x long, well, to do the 10x long, you're putting up, let's say you put up $10 and your 10x long basically means you're trading at $100. Well, that $90 for that difference to give you that 10x is money that you're essentially borrowing from the exchange. Same thing if you're doing a 10x short or a 2x, whatever. And so the higher the percentage or the higher x you're doing, anybody's doing, they're borrowing that money. And so there's a funding rate for those leveraged positions. And you can look at funding rates to get a good idea if people are excessively long, large in part, or excessively short. And this is going to tie in with the fear and greed index, which we're going to go over here in a second. But when people are excessively short and it's just wide consensus, the market's 70% short, that's usually at points where there's a lot of fear in the market because the market tends to, at that point, a lot of times be, it could either be excessively greedy or excessively fearful. And then the shorts or longs will correspond with that. And what that means is when the funding rate is very high, then you can start to look for the opposite move to happen. Because what happens is when you have a lot of people leveraged short, for instance, right now, when there's a lot of people leveraged short, and it's increasing because we are at this very huge downtrend resistance line, and a large, not majority, a huge number of people, market participants that are participating in this market trading, can also see this downtrend. So they're thinking, man, maybe it's a good spot to take profits. And other people are saying, hey, we still have a lot of room to go down. So people are shorting here. And when you get this huge amount of people shorting, then you have these liquidation zones that are, plus or minus a small percentage of, in this case, if it was short, just above this level. And if market makers and maybe also sentiment of the market gets excited, or a news story pushes sentiment there and the price goes up to those liquidation levels, what happens when all these people are short? And you can this is why you can use this funding rate calculator and look at what's going on in the markets. Then you can, there used to be a graph on here. It would be here. Looking at the long versus short ratio, if everybody's going short and the funding rate for going short is also going through the roof, and you see on this chart that we're at this line of resistance, what happens is that could be context that we might be pulling back. But in the context of right now where the market's endured so bearishly for so long, then you can also understand that what could happen here is if the market starts to get any sort of positive momentum to the upside and those shorts are forced to either be liquidated or people have to close their shorts because they don't want them liquidated. In order to close a short, you have to essentially buy your way out of the contract. And so what happens is you see this right here. You see this giant move right here, and then another one right here. This is, yes, a good amount of people, sentiment coming in buying, but it's also this level kind of breaking. If we zoom in on this, these levels breaking. And once this level breaks, you see we're kind of batting our head up against this 14.4, 17.4, 17.5. And then once we break this level, we can see this is sort of, look at this. This is a critical level. I'm going to put a option H, gives me a trend line right there, horizontal trend line, option H, rather than having to come here to draw it. And once we break these sort of zones right here, boom, we get this explosive move up. Part of that is sentiment coming in the market buying, but also a good part of that, which we can see through liquidations, and that's short liquidations forcing to have a buy, which then you have this cascading liquidations that then rocket this market up. So utilizing and understanding if there's a ton of people short or long, and you can adjust these time frames right here. We go 4 hour, right here. There's a lot of longs coming in. Yesterday, look at this. There was a lot of shorts coming in. But you can utilize this in context with your technical analysis, so you can have a good idea of likelihoods, likely scenarios. So because what we want to do, we want to plan. We want to have a plan of action. We want to have a strategy. Otherwise, you will be eaten alive. Because if you don't have a strategy, that means you're trading emotionally. So if anything else, if I can get you to do one thing today, if you haven't yet, and even if you have, do it again. Write out your basic strategy. What's your time frame? Okay, you're going to have a trading portfolio and a longer term portfolio that's going to be diversified, meaning it's split amongst a few assets. Now, if you're all in crypto, like I am, that's a very aggressive mood. It's good to diversify, even if you aren't all in crypto, in terms of all the assets you have invested or that you're trading. Even within those, you need to break those up into multiple different assets. Now, and I want you to write out what your trading strategy is, what your time horizon is, and then when you approach the charts with technical analysis, then you can address what your strategy and your goals are and your time horizon to what time period you're looking at. There's no need to be looking at 2-minute time frames if you're on a multi-week trading strategy. You're just driving yourself insane. So getting back to this, because we got about 8 minutes left. So one of the things you can do, and to shout back out to, we were talking about diversification and utilizing stuff like this on CoinMarketCap is, where is it at? It's using Masari. You can get a very similar sort of CoinMarketCap sort of ranking read of everything. This is sort of an additional one step up from CoinMarketCap. Again, this is a free tool. It has free tools within it, but it also has paid membership stuff. But the free stuff you can utilize, and you can also see right here, if you are going to diversify, try to not only diversify in the type of assets that you're, the assets that you're holding, but diversify between what sector they're in. Whether it's, if it's going to be a DeFi thing, if it's going to be smart contract platform, if it's going to be gating, gaming, gaming, or if it's going to be file storage. Get broadly sort of exposed to different asset classes in the market, so that you, one, it's a risk management tool, but two, it helps you have broad exposure to different things in the market in case one sector has massive issue with regulation or whatever it is. And this is a great tool to do that. And then you can even, same thing, go in and click on something like Cardano, and then you get all kinds of different information here, which is really great information. Now, continuing on. DeFi Llama, incredible tool. If you're not using this tool, it's so good. Now, this is obviously, it's called DeFi Llama. It's definitely a lot more directed towards, I'll see you later, Brad. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out again to everybody in chat. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. We got about 7 minutes left. We're going to be running through these great tools, but DeFi Llama is incredible for DeFi assets. And what's DeFi? If you don't know what DeFi is, I'm glad you're here, because we're breaking down everything that we can. DeFi is decentralized finance, meaning non-centralized institutions, which I want to make a point about this. There's a lot of discussion about the FTX stuff and Celsius, and these are not decentralized finance. These are centralized organizations, in a way, taking advantage of the decentralized community here, because a lot of people coming in, buying into these hype cycles, are not aware of the difference between these centralized and decentralized entities. Okay, I really want to push everybody to self-custody, but then also make sure that the exposure that you do have to centralized institutions, be it Binance, Coinbase, they're not necessarily bad, but they are basically reestablishing the same legacy that traditional banking had, which is a centralized organization controlling the assets that are under their purview. Now, some of them are going to be good actors, some of them are going to be bad actors, but again, diversify amongst self-custody, these trading institutions, these centralized, because you are likely going to need to use them in some capacity, but use them minimally if you can to protect your assets. Now, decentralized finance is these smart contract platforms like Ethereum, Cardano, Phantom, Avalanche, Algorand, all these different platforms that allow different ecosystems to be built on top of them. So these are called layer 0 or layer 1, depending on who you are. But they're the train tracks that are amazing within themselves, but then also have layer 2, layer 3. For instance, Ethereum is a layer 1. Then you have Polygon, which is a layer 2, which is much faster, cheaper fees, and both of them have a use case. And then you have true layer 0s, which are like Chainlink, that is essentially an oracle that helps tie and bridge these different chains together. Atom, stuff like these. Now, Atom is kind of Cosmos is a little bit of a different because it is in a way a layer 0, but it's also a layer 2 on top of Ethereum. Now, this is incredible because DeFi allows you to understand. It's much similar to when you thought about all the people that were trying to participate in the gold rush in the 1800s here in the U.S. Well, the people that made them, the largest percentage of people that made money that tried to do something that was related to the gold rush were the people that sold the picks and axes, the shovels, the buckets, and the sifting pans to. It was the merchants. It was the people that sold the tools that provided the railroad tracks to those people that were out there trying to participate in the gold rush. And make no lie that like the blockchain and crypto environment is a sort of digital gold rush. And a way to really attack this is to look at all these different, you can come in here, overview, you can go to chains here, and you can see all the different chains and their dominance within the ecosystem. But then you can also, these are essentially the railroad tracks, that other massive ecosystems are being built on top of. So if another ecosystem is being built on top of, for instance, Ethereum, this is one of the reasons why Ethereum has so much value, is because you can see here Ethereum, and you can see the total value locked, which is how many assets on Ethereum are being locked in staking pools, are being utilized in smart contracts, are being utilized in all these different things that are giving value. They're showing the use case value of that ecosystem. Now, one of the cool things you can do is you can come in here, you can click on, let's say, Avalanche. And when you click on Avalanche, and then you can scroll down, and you can see all these different other ecosystems that are built also on top of this ecosystem. So now you can utilize, for instance, Ethereum is an amazing tool that you can utilize to sort of look at a roadmap of how Ethereum sort of built its ecosystem, and you can start looking at different sectors that really had amazing growth and use and explosive sort of just social awareness. And now you can look at other ecosystems like Avalanche or Cardano, and you can see what different assets are building on top of Cardano or Avalanche that are doing similar things that had explosive growth on Ethereum. So you can start to sort of predict these things. Now, I want you to really explore this this tool, and this is DeFiLlama.com. Another one you can utilize and I want you to really go through this. I'm not going to go through each one of these patterns, but the pattern site is phenomenal because you can go through and you can gain so much free knowledge about what's going on with candle patterns, tips and tricks. And we go through a lot of this in absolute great detail with all of our lessons. We have a whole technical analysis sort of course section within BitLab Academy where we go through all the charts. We explain how, the why, the what's, but you can also utilize stuff like this, the pattern site, come through, look at chart patterns, and then come down and break down each one of these. Now I'm going to run through the last 2 minutes. I want you to go through this. Go through these different sort of tools here on chainexposed.com, and you can look at different realized profit and loss. You can look at dormancy flow. You can look at age specific, like what's going on with different types of market participants, whether they're short-term holders, long-term holders. The point is, there is so much available to you if you put in any sort of sense of check-in with yourself and you tune in with what it takes to succeed at something, whether you're a boxer, a trader, an investor, anything that you want to do in life. It all comes down to how much do you want it? It's never anybody else's fault. It's never outside factors, because there's always going to be hurdles get thrown in your way. It comes down to how much do you want it. And these are the tools. These are a bunch of the tools that you can utilize to really engage your mind, engage your strategy, engage your spirit, because it's going to be very difficult at first sometimes, but everything is. We didn't know how to walk when we first took our steps. We fell 100 times, but luckily God blessed us with the ability to forget those early hurdles that we had, and we just continued learning to walk so we wouldn't have that sort of PTSD from falling, right? So we could learn over time, and we need to reenact being a child as an adult. You need to let go of your ego. You need to be okay with failing, because you can only succeed through failure. And hopefully you can learn through some of our failures here, but it's going to be up to you to utilize these tools, to explore them, not just do what you're taught. Explore tools and explore them in a different way than we're using them. Explore them in different applications and build your strategy. But that's all I've got for you today. Much love to everybody. I don't know, share something, share your favorite word in chat, share your favorite lesson in chat, share the number one thing you want me to teach in chat before I go. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that like button, ding the little bell, follow these, all these things down here. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, and go ahead and make sure you tune in at some point. If you haven't followed yet, follow Hit Network Gaming, and we're going to head over to BitBoy Crypto to see the news of the day. And wherever you're at in the world, wherever you're at in your journey, we're here to be and build a community with you. Thank you so much. My name is Kellam. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you later. Adios, muchachos.